What's going on, everybody? Sean Daniel with Guitar Control here. Today we're going to learn a classic song, Paint It Black by the Rolling Stones. Make sure you click the link below because it's going to have the tab and the chords we're going to go over, because this is going to be like an acoustic representation of kind of everything that the band is doing. So we're going to take into account different parts of the different instruments going on, how the drum is playing it, etc., etc. Let's get right to it. It is 4 parts. We've got an intro, kind of riff. We have the verse chords, the chorus chords, and then the outro strumming, which is a great lesson in triplet. So a lot of stuff is going to be covered in this lesson, and let's get right to it, right? I think one of the most iconic, different out there riffs ever on guitar. It sounds like this. Okay, so it's actually a lot easier than maybe it seems if you've never tried it before. It's using something called the pedal point. All that means is every other note is going to be the open B string, okay? So the way we're actually going to learn it first is just half of the riff. So even if it ends up sounding like this, we're going to learn it like this. Okay? And then we're going to add that B string in between every other note. So let's memorize this. It starts off on the high E string. Open, 2, 3, 5, 3, 2, open. Almost kind of like a scale going forward and backwards, right? Now as soon as we throw that open B string in between every one of the notes, it sounds like this. Alright, so, awesome sounding riff. Love this riff. So after that, after the E, 4B, E, 2E, E, 4B, okay? So just try to memorize this. Use your ears. Alright, and then, as soon as you get that down, throw that open B string in between every single one of those. And if you notice with my right hand, I'm just going alternate picking, back and forth with the high E and the B strings. Really great exercise in picking, or if you're using, your fingers. Same difference, it's gonna sound great, okay? If you wanna do a little flourish at the end before we get into the chords, you can do this kind of thing on the B string. So this is just 2 picks, all right? It's the hammer on from 2B to 4B to 5B. And then we've got kind of like a double pull off. 5, pull off to 4, pull off to 2, and then hammer on the 4th fret on the B string. So we've got like that, and then that jumps into, this is amazing. I love that big E minor thing going on here, okay? So real slow one more time through the intro. And then you can just jump into the E minor from there if you want. Again, this is the E minor chord. There's only a few chords that you need, which are all going to be on that chord chart. But really, to kind of get that sound, what I kind of associate with that sound, I'm just doing this upstroke, kind of rake type thing. And if you want to kind of actually make it last a little bit longer instead of just, because it's not a quick thing, it's really like a, it's an ominous, foreboding E minor chord that you can kind of just rake upwards, all right? And then once we get there, we're going to the verse of the song, which conceptually is very easy, but you want to kind of capture the vibe of what's happening here, all right? So it's just 2 chords. It's E minor to B major, okay? So the way we're going to play the verse is going to sound like this. We're going to kind of add some of that pulsing, driving sound that is kind of signature to the song into the chords, all right? E minor is really easy. It's just 2A and 2D. And now the way we're going to get the sound is going to be by breaking up the chord to its root note, open E, and then the rest of the chord. But I want to do it pretty heavily palm muted. So we kind of get that, you know, that sound that is trying to capture the vibe of what the band's doing, right? So really just take the side of your palm, karate chop near the bridge, and then you get this deadened sound. And then when you hit the root note in the chord, you get like a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So if we're counting it like that, that would be 2 bars of 4. And we're gonna do the same thing on a B major chord. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and do 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 do. Okay, the way I'm playing a B major bar chord, which can be difficult rooted on the A string for some people. We don't have to play it like this, but the way I was just playing it is I'm rooting on the 2nd fret of the A string, and I'm using either my pinky or my ring finger to bar the 4th fret on the D, G, and B strings. Now, a replacement for this, it might be easier because, again, these A string rooted bar chords can be very difficult on an acoustic guitar specifically. We can use a B7 chord. That's really as easy as almost any other open chord. It's just 2 on the A string, 1 on the D string, 2 on the G string. Optionally, if you want your pinky, you can get it on the high E string. And then we can go from E minor. You can actually keep your middle finger right where it is to make that B7. And it kind of adds a little bit of a different flavor to it, but it's still definitely painted black. And it's a lot easier. You might want to, you know, switch it up. Maybe one time you can do it on the regular E minor to B7, and then the second time. But that's it. The whole verse is really just those 2 chords, all right? And then when we get into what I think of as the chorus is. And then back into the verse. Okay, so really kind of a simple collection of chords, but played in a cool way. So we're gonna do 2 strums on most of these chords, right? The chord progression is gonna be E minor, D major, G major, D major, E minor. Okay, so that last time we're gonna stick on that E minor. Otherwise, it's 2 strums on each of them. 2 strums on E minor, D major, G major, D major, E. Okay, so then that last E you're gonna plant for a while, okay? Which is important. Think of that space in the last one because we're gonna change that the next time around. But really, I'm just playing mostly downstrokes. Down, 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 down. And I'm trying to match what Mick is doing in the vocals. And really, you know, that's the great thing about those guys, they're legends. Really, everybody in the band is a legend. But when you think of like Mick and Keith and kind of like the synergy they have and they're playing, I don't even know if Keith is technically playing the acoustic guitar on this part, but really, if you think of where he's singing vocally and trying to accompany that in a guitar part, that's a good thing that you should be doing for any kind of acoustic guitar accompaniment type thing, right? So think of the lyrics. Da, 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 da. All right, and then the second time you do it, it's the exact same thing. E minor, D major, G major, D major, A major, and then to B. Okay, so we did a little bit of a different thing. A major just kind of pops his head in right here. All right, 2nd fret on the D string, 2nd fret on the G string, 2nd fret on the B string. I'm playing it like this. And then I end up with the way I do it, I just slide down 2 frets. What's 2 frets higher than an A major? A sharp or B flat, and then B again, okay? So the chord progression, will, as you'll see on the sheet, is gonna be A to B, okay? Now you can play it however you wanna play A major bar chord, or not even bar chord, open chord. You can do any B major you want. You can even go back to that B7, all right? I think it sounds cool to take that A major shape and then slide it forward 2 frets or down 2 frets, however your perspective is. So the whole chorus would be. Second time. A, B, and then you go back into the palm mute. And now that last example is, I was kind of adding some mutes and stuff, like, to get that like down, down. In between, I'm getting kind of like a down up mute. I just think it sounds good. Again, this is just one way to play it. However you want to play it, I'm just kind of giving you the structure of it, and then whatever kind of techniques and skills and stuff that's in your wheelhouse that you want to practice and incorporate into it, it's all on you. And that's the cool thing about having such an iconic song that has such a very distinct outline and structure that kind of belies, the essence of the song, is something that you can kind of like put your own playing and style into. I think is what makes a great song, but it still keeps the essence of the song, right? So we've got the intro, the verse, and the chorus. Now the only thing left is kind of the cool triplety strummed outro. Okay, so kind of like this death march type outro thing. It's the same chords as the verse, E minor to B, however you want to play it. But it sounds like this. I'll slow it down a little bit. Okay, so I think it's hard to count unless you know what a triplet is, because if you're like down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, it's like, what? What's going on? There's a lot of downs and ups. So counting in triplets is really important. And again, what a triplet is we talked about these being in bars of 4, okay? We could just do straight quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that first one is 1, 2, 3, 4. A triplet is when you take one of those beats and break it into 3 separate beats, okay? So if we're just going 1, 2, 3, 4, a triplet would be triplet, 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 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And especially when it comes to when you kind of get that same thing when you're doing triplets in a row, I think it's really important to count it that way, okay? So we have here, in a bar, we have 1, triplet, 3, okay? So the second beat is a triplet. You could also count that as 2 triplet. 1, 2 triplet, 3, 4 triplet, 1, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, okay? So if we have a bunch of triplets here, we have a triplet on the 2 and the 4 of the first bar, and then the 2, 3, and 4 on the second bar, all right? So I'm just gonna strum it and count the triplets. So like 1, 2 triplet, 3, 4 triplet, 1, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Okay? So that's a really great thing that you want to practice. Getting those triplets where the accent is always on the first part of the triplet, okay? Otherwise, just going down and up, and then it becomes a little bit harder to count because you can't tell where the triplet ends and starts. If everything is even, it just sounds like you're strumming down and up. But if you're strumming in triplets, where the T sound of the triplet, 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 you can hear where the accent is. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Even though I'm just going down and up, that's what kind of gives the triplet a signature sound, and that's what gives that. Where you just kind of keep your right hand steady on those. So again, downstrokes on the 1, the 3, and the 1 of the second bar, triplets on every other beat. 1, 2 triplet, 3, 4 triplet, 1, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1, 2 triplet, 3, 4 triplet, 1, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, B. Okay, great song, awesome song, a lot that you can learn from this song. 4 parts, conceptually very easy, but a lot of techniques that you can employ to kind of make it sound pretty rockin', pretty groovy, like a super dark drug trip, which I believe the song is about. But anyways, if you have any questions or comments, leave them below, and we'll get back to you. If you have any feedback, please let us know. Make sure to check out the other videos that I have around here by other great guitar instructors, myself included. Bound to be something you want, other songs you want to hear, any requests, let us know, and we'll get at you soon. Thanks a lot.